Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Today's video is going to be about trapped emotions and how they might be manifesting in ailments in our bodies and where in our bodies they might be manifesting and what we can do about it. If you haven't done so yet, please, it means so much to me. It means so much to me if you can subscribe and like this video so that I can continue to make more videos for you. So what if I told you this? What if I told you that the single thing that's keeping us sick as a society is our inability to be able to feel the emotions that don't feel so good. So as a society, we have been conditioned to feel the feel-good emotions, but not feel those emotions that don't feel as good. So what happens then is that we learn to suppress them, and we automatically suppress those things that are uncomfortable and that don't make us feel good. So as a result, those emotions begin to be trapped in our bodies. So they begin to accumulate because of our inability to learn how to finish the cycle and how to process the emotion. So when we have accumulated so much pain and so much anger and so much resentment and all emotions that we were unable to process for all these years, they begin to build up in certain areas in our bodies, and then they manifest into these symptoms. And so what we're going to the doctors for, what we're going to the emergency room for, is essentially the symptom from an underlying condition that has been building up for years to come. So in our society, we have been conditioned for many decades to not feel the things that don't feel good, and to only feel the things that do feel good. And so that is why we overindulge in things that feel good, in drugs, in alcohol, in lifestyles, in materialistic things, because we have been conditioned to only want those feel good feelings, right? And so we suppress the things that don't feel good, the things that don't feel comfortable. We sweep it under the rug, like some families might say. But what we're doing in that moment is we are suppressing a part of ourselves, because negative emotions are inevitable. We cannot walk around this world and expect to never feel bad, expect to never get angry, expect to never feel sad. It's gonna happen, it's inevitable. But those emotions are neutral. They're neutral. They don't mean anything unless you assign a meaning to it. So I am here to tell you today to talk a little bit more about those emotions and how they might be getting trapped in your bodies and what you can do about it, right? So as human beings, we are made out of the building blocks of life are atoms, right? So we know, science has proven that everything in this world is made up of a building block, right? And that building block consists of atoms. So they are the most basic form of life, atoms, right? So if you look at our bodies, right, you see in the exterior, we see skin, we see eyes, we see our mouth. Then if we peel back a layer, we'll see veins, we'll see blood, we'll see muscle. Then if you peel back more layers, then you'll see the bones. And if you continue to cut into the smallest little pieces, what there is an atom. And then if you continue to look into the atom, what you will see is energy, right? You will see protons, neutrons, and then you continue to look in there and there's space. There's nothing, there's space. So what science has discovered is that in that space that makes up the atom, that makes up who we are, it's energy. So everything around us is energy. Absolutely everything that is around in our world is energy. We are energy. We are essentially energy. We're made up of energy. So think about, like, for instance, when you go to the hospital, just walking into the hospital, if you get like this feeling, like a feeling in your stomach, maybe like the hairs in your neck stand up, or you feel something, right? So that's the energy that they're giving off, right? Or have you ever listened to a song that really resonated with you and so you got goosebumps? Happens to me all the time. So that is an example right there of energy. You can't see it, but you can feel it. So emotions, just like that, emotions are energy. They're energy. They're an exchange of energy. They're how we perceive the world, right? So we interpret the emotions, and that's how we perceive the world. So whenever we have a positive emotion, whenever we have energy that's positive, that we interpret as positive, for example, the feeling of gratitude, the feeling of joy, of happiness, we interpret that as positively, right? So we feel good when we feel those emotions, when we do things that bring those emotions out on us. Now, versus when we are in a situation where we feel uncomfortable, where we might not feel, where we might not know how to process what's going on very well, right? So during those instances, you're receiving what you're interpreting as a negative energy, and you're interpreting that into anger or into frustration or negative energies, right? So if we don't know how to process those energies, and what ends up happening is that we suppress them. And when we suppress those negative energies that you might consider negative, because really they're neutral, they're just energy, but you're assigning the negative meaning to it. So when we suppress them, they end up in different parts of our bodies. So they end up getting stored in different parts of our bodies. So what happens is that if you, let's say that you store your anger in your shoulders, or you store grief in your shoulders, or you store sadness in your shoulders, or responsibility, then if you experience a lot of that and you don't learn how to process it and release it, then you're going to be storing more and more and more and more of it right in that area, which will eventually, it will eventually, not right away, it will eventually manifest into shoulder pains, or chronic pain, or chronic shoulder pains. And then you're going to go to the doctors, and you're going to tell them, hey, I have this chronic pain. You're going to go to your massage therapist or a chiropractor, and they're going to relieve you for that minute. But a day later or a week later, the pain is going to come back. And so you're going to go again, and you're going to go again for the rest of your life. But really, if you were to understand that all you needed to do was release that emotion, release those emotions that you had building up, which have resulted in chronic pain, then you could have avoided, all those years of going to the chiropractor or going to a doctor, taking medication. Because all you needed to do was release that underlying pain, that underlying emotion that has been holding you down all these years. All right, so I really hope that you enjoyed my video, and please, it means so much to me for you to subscribe and like and comment my videos, so that I can continue to make more like these. Bye.